All right, folks, welcome back to another episode, and allow me to welcome back two of my favorite guests, Paulie and Cara. How are you two doing?
Oh, we are phenomenal. I'm actually excited to be back. You're one of my favorites.
Yeah, didn't we do your first podcast ever, basically?
Cara, I'm about to
Yeah,
start
we
calling
did.
you the landlord of this channel because this is your
Huh?
third time on here.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the landlord.
We did two?
It was me and you
we
solo,
did
and then we
Cook?
did Cook. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hello, I'm back.
She's back for round 3, baby, and I'm back for round 2.
Third
Round two.
time's a charm.
So how's 2022 been treating you two? What have you guys been up to? What have you had in the works? What's it been like?
What's it been like for you? How's 2022 been?
Um.
How's your birthday month leading in here?
Yeah. I don't know. You talk.
Well, so 2022's been phenomenal. We have been kind of keeping a secret, like, what we've been doing on the agency side of things, and with the event side of things, we haven't really wanted to put it out there, just because we feel as though castmates, when we were on the show, like, rather than, attacking, anything that was coming from the game, they would always try and attack us personally and try and like trash our character in order to like either, plug stuff that they're doing, right? It's the classic like bait and switch. Trash them, get a bunch of people looking at your page. Oh, by the way, I'm dropping a Patreon today. Oh, by the way, buy my merchandise, right? So I didn't want people, talking about this. I also didn't want talent shying away from like working with us because social media can be intimidating at times. And if you have a bunch of trolls, like, constantly coming at you, coming into your DMs, telling you not to work with us for whatever
Honestly,
reason.
we mostly get a lot of love. So
No,
I'll tell you what.
we do-
You guys get a lot of weird stuff too, though, when you're
We
answering
do
those
get a lot of
questions.
weird stuff.
Most of my DMs, like 99.99% of my DMs, I don't look at his, obviously, are love and support about everything we're doing. We do have, there's a few freaks out there that have been dedicated for years on, like, attacking anybody in our life that they can see that's been tagged or has been followed. And it's crazy, but we're not going to talk about that because you don't want to give them attention because they're probably listening to this so they can comment.
Well, no, where I was going with it was,
But
before getting cut off,
about
was
good
that
things.
we are now at a point where like the agency's too big. The events have been proven successful.
Yeah.
We have too many things on the books in the future. The train's going and it's not stopping, right? So it's either you're on the train and you're going to come with us, or, you're off the train and you'll probably be on a sinking ship. So we are, I don't know, like, I'm really excited. She's, as a photographer, is unbelievable. She's unreal. On
I'm
the
getting
technical,
better every time.
no. She is unbelievable. Like, anybody that shoots with her is like, it's incredible. Like, these are the best photos I've ever seen. She really has an eye for like art. And like,
Yeah.
It's not just a photo, like, anybody can take a photo and edit it up nice and be like, pose like this. She finds like the details,
The
like
moment.
in the
I like
moment.
to find the
Moment.
moment.
So like through her photos, you can actually feel the moment of like what was going on at like that event and stuff like that, which is an amazing thing. Very talented.
Thank you.
So
I
we're
love
very
her.
blessed to have her.
I love doing the photography. I do.
In
What
that
was
realm.
like the
And
particular moment for you, Cara, when you decided, you know what, I think I just want to pick up this camera? If I remember correctly, I think it was sometime during the beginning of the pandemic, Paulie had kind of like been like, all right, this is what we got to do, like get up and going. And then that's when you started taking the photos. Where was like the instance for you, do you feel like?
Well, really with me, like I took a photography course in college, like I loved it, but I got so busy doing all the other things that I was doing, I didn't have the time. I like everything. I like painting, I like photography, I did DJing, I was a bartender, I was a model, I was on TV, like I did everything, so I couldn't spend the time on one thing that I loved. I had my horse, I was riding my horse, like so many things, jack of all trades, master of none. So when the pandemic happened and I had some time to just sit back and chill for a minute, and I was like, it wasn't just pandemic. It was like, not doing challenges anymore. I'm like, who am I? If I'm not Cara on the challenge, like that's what I did all the time. It was, and if not the challenge, it was an after show, a reunion, this, a that. It was always something with the challenge. And where I was just kind of thrown in the dumpster, I was like, okay, well, what do I do while I'm in this dumpster here? And so he knew I love photography. Anytime we do an event, I I like being not I like hiding. I have really bad social anxiety. So for me, if I'm sitting in a club, like I want to die. But if I have a camera and I'm creeping on you having fun and I'm capturing you in your moments, not just you, okay, everybody smile. It's like I like finding people while their personalities coming through, while they're doing what they do that makes them them. And so I would do that with my phone at every event, birthday party, friends hanging out, and I would just be the creep with the camera, and I'd show them all the pictures that I took of them after, like the paparazzi, and they're like, oh shit, I love this. And Paulie's like, you do this all the time, like, why don't you just do what you love this, just do it. So then I got to pursue it at our events, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I saw a lot of similarities between her and my Aunt Sharon.
Huge compliment.
My Aunt Sharon is top wedding videographer in the country. She is fully booked out every year. Like, she has to turn down events. She gets asked to do things for like high level people in the country. We're talking like celebrities, musicians, the agents who represent these people. And she's just like fully booked out, all year. But I remember being a kid and I watched how she started, and she started the same way at like all the family events, being that creep, capturing the photos.
That's such creep.
And it would be like an all year long thing. And then we would always be down in Atlantic City as a family, towards the end of the summer, Labor Day weekend. And she always put together like a slideshow throughout like the whole year of like what she captured. And we would sit down and she would make it funny, and she did this. And then it like turned into like, I watched like her and my uncle like kind of be like, oh, well, I mean, clearly you have a passion for this. So then it started, oh, well, now you're working for another company. Now you're learning how to video edit. Now you're learning how to capture. And then they've taken that business and they've, exploded.
Yeah.
So I saw those similarities, and I was like, Cara could 100% go a similar path, but not really like lock herself down to like certain types of events, like kind of make it open, and go this route of like these types of events, and being able to shoot anybody, artists, celebrities, reality TV people, whatever it could be.
That's incredible. So I think that since you guys have obviously not been on our screens for the last few years, you guys have made the most of what you've had in front of you, and I think that's incredible. But I think a lot of people that are going to be watching this would have to agree that there's definitely a lot of skin still left on the bone in the latter end of that spectrum when it comes to the television stuff. How often do you guys think back to certain situations since you were last on that show? Like, is there anything to where you think back and you're just like, if this went a certain way, maybe we'd be having a different discussion right now?
I mean, I'm a perfectionist at heart, and coming from athletics, like, you're always just after a loss and a win, you're like breaking down the game film, being like, all right, hey, we won, but if we don't fix these things, we're going to lose next time. And then if you lose, it's like, these are the things that we did well. This is why we lost. So we have to correct those things so we can win. There's definitely there's a lot of unfinished business, on our side of things, both individually and together. I replay scenarios in my head from every season. I had to relive it all because I just filmed that documentary, that they were doing.
Yeah.
And, I kept that a secret because I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? So like, this is the first time that I'm like talking about it, and I like watching other cast members like put their feet in their mouth, so to speak, with like everything that they've come at us for. We've just been watching for 2.5 years being like, holy crap, when we get to go back, we're just going to be able to tear everybody to shreds. Not just from a competition standpoint where like we always were able to do it, but also from like that outer part of the game that we never really understood, which was like always the social media aspect of like them all talking to each other in DMs and coming out with like a unified thing to say about us. And we just never planned for that because we were just kind of like, well, the game's over. I'm sure nobody holds any thing bad about us. They're all messaging us like they're our friends. But then as the show would play out in real time, we would just see in waves, just like massive amounts of people just like all saying and repeating the same thing. It was almost like a freaking news channel.
But don't we miss that? Because I guess, I don't know what's going on now. I'm not really on social media, but I'm guessing it's like, don't commit this guy. He's really a good guy. You have no idea. Oh my God, I love this person.
The final reckoning.
Try so hard. Everybody's awesome, and I love everybody. Let's party together and hang out and make out and be friends.
But then try and convince people that we have issues with each other on a season.
All I'm thinking is like, that's gonna be boring.
The final reckoning and War of the Worlds era with you guys on there, I'm sure you guys living it like mentally had to be taxing, but for the audience, like, oh my God, seeing the social media that you guys had, like that was real, like beef, but like through the game, not just because like personal stuff. Like it was just all game related, which is what the show's supposed to be. Whereas now there's no beef and there's just seemingly no anything right now besides a bunch of, you know, kumbaya stuff that we talk.
People are so friendly. It's because if you look at who's being cast or who's on the show now, it's all the people that were sent home early by us. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
None of our actual friends or anybody that's been in our alliances has been back. Anybody who has ever had our back, with the exception of Cam and Leroy, has not come back, not been invited back. It's only the people that are best friends with certain people and that have been brought time and time again, they're all best friends, and the only thing they had in common was we always ruin their chances at a final.
I almost feel in a way we made these people.
We did, but here's the other thing. How boring is it to have only those people where they like each other so much that they actually have to, hey, okay, let's fake this fight so that people think we're like they actually have to fake fights to create drama, and the fans are so smart that they see through it. And the thing is, it's just such a disservice to what the challenge is. The challenge is such a bomb show. The producers work so hard, creating these challenges, creating these experiences. Like, it is an epic, amazing show. And I feel like the cast now is doing not only a disservice to the challenge, but to the fans. The fans are smart. You know, they see through this fake stuff. Like, they know exactly what's going on here. And the fans are not eating this. From what I'm seeing from the reviews, fans ain't about this. And I just hope, you know, that the powers that be listen to the fans, because the fans are what make the show.
Well, I mean, and it doesn't just trickle down to, like, just those people. Like, everybody gets along now. All the OGs, all the All-Stars, all the new people, like, there's nobody that you could bring back onto the main show. Like, there's nobody you could bring back onto the main show that's even an OG that is going to cause rifts. They're all friends.
Everybody.
They all are friends. They all hang out. They all text each other.
They all go to each other's
do whatever.
Birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, I don't know what they go. They go to everything. You know what I mean?
What drives me crazy is, so, like, and Cara and I are done with this stuff, right? Like, people call us all the time just to trash other castmates and just to talk smack about them in the hopes that we're going to speak on their behalf. You know, like, oh, I was done dirty by this person, or I was done dirty in this way, blah, 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 blah. Like, expecting us to do what we used to do for them.
They don't call me.
And stick up for them, right? Like, no, but, like, after War of the Worlds 2.
A lot of people call, it's so wild. Like,
I hear.
A lot of people talk. I don't talk to anybody.
A lot of people call me. They apologize. They want to make sure they're on our good side. It's just.
Is it something about you guys together? Is it that people don't like? Do you think they like you more separately, and this is what it is? Because it's just a public thing. I feel like when you're in a relationship that's public, people just don't like people being happy. Is that just? Yeah.
People love Leroy and Cam. People support Leroy and Cam, and we have. You're listening to, basically, we dominate every challenge that we're on. You cannot lie. You cannot say we hate them so much we're going to deny this. Look at the challenges. Look at the daily challenge wins. Look at the elimination wins. It's been a while for me. Look at the people he's actually sent home, and in the eliminations that he has, the wild, unpredictable eliminations, not headbangers. He needs one and wants one. But even the wild ones, he's won and pulled through. We win. And so when we're not that lovable couple that's like, we're best friends with everybody. Like, we win and we ruin people's lives.
Well,
no
also,
wonder they hate us, obviously.
But we don't go on that show to be like, let's highlight our relationship. We go there strictly business. Our relationship is off camera, like what we are. and everything. Like when we go there, it's strictly business. Like I am documenting every move that people make, every conversation they have.
Yeah.
After I speak with somebody, I watch where they go. After something happens, I watch where people migrate to. I'm always on. I'm watching people while challenges are going on, even if they show a slight bit of excitement when they think somebody's going to win something. I catch it all. There's not one thing that gets past me. And that's what I like to do when it comes to these shows. And I have no loyalties to anybody other than myself and her.
I think that people are aware that we cannot be manipulated. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like these guys are all best friends, and like I can throw a drink in your face 1 second and talk shit about you, and then, hey, let's go hang out and we're best friends. We remember everything. We will fuck you. We will fuck you. If you fuck us, rest assured your day is on its way. Do you know what I mean? So there is no manipulation that can happen. Since I've been with him, I do not stand for bullshit. I do not cry in a corner. Math will make me cry. It'll happen. We're there. We've all been there. It's fine. It's math. Other than that,
we have not all cried at math.
I have a lot of people that relate to me with the
needles.
Situation.
What about needles? Does that still?
Needle in the vein, clarifying to everybody who's like, you have tattoos, you got Botox. It's a needle, it's a vein. I don't like veins or needles pulling or putting things in them. So, but I think the big thing is like people know that we cannot be manipulated. Do you know what I mean? Like if I do not like someone, or if you show me who you are, I believe you now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm out. I'm out. I protect my peace.
I think what sums it up is this, and only the real ones will know exactly what I'm talking about. When certain news got out about a certain season before it even aired about who won, and you saw every single person on the cast subconsciously tweet, "Oh, got a bit of good news today," and even like past cast members being like, "Wow, great news travels fast today." That right there is a telltale sign that people aren't there for themselves or to play the game for themselves. They're there in order to do what they think is going to get them the best edit, and what's going to get them praised by whoever. And I don't know, and we're not going to speak about people by name, but I can say that an entire group of OGs, and I don't care who they are or what resume they have, go down the list of them all. Name every single person that you would consider an animal, a legend, whatever it is. Go through that whole list. Go through every new person. There's one person that all these people bow down to, and they're lapdogs too. And that one person we don't listen to. It's not that we don't listen to that person because they like, we don't like that person, right? Like obviously we don't like that person for other personal reasons, right? And we've come a long way since that. But from a game standpoint, we're just not going to bend over backwards to hand anybody else a win. And we're not going to bend over backwards to serve somebody else. And there's certain people who say that they serve what's best for the show, but actually what they are serving is what's best for them.
It is. That's the thing is by following, there's a lot of layers. It's not just TJ shows up, here's the game. We have 3 dogs. They're running around, so don't mind us. It's not just TJ shows up, here's the game. There's a game within the game. And you not only if you just go in and you dominate every challenge, guess what that doesn't do? That doesn't bring exciting TV, right? That's boring. Now you start rooting against the person.
But
I know.
Because you need to root against people.
But it also makes, you gotta understand, the challenge is not just the challenge, and this is what I've learned. It is a TV show. So you need to understand the multiple layers of what the fans are watching, what the gods want to make good TV, not just winning challenges. So there's so many layers to it. And we have been so focused on just the game.
Stop it. We make great TV, Cara. Like you're going off.
Oh no, we do.
We make great TV naturally, and I'm just gonna put that out there. What I see when I talk about the game within a game is how these people play the game outside of the game, which is something I never understood, and I never knew that there was like plotting and planning and all this stuff, to come at people where it's like you have a season to do that. Go in there and do it.
Even people that
don't
like each other go in being like, we don't like each other, but then we're gonna be best friends here.
We don't
and
like
then
each
we're
other,
gonna
but let's
live.
make it halfway, and then we'll start coming after each other. Whereas, like, I don't care. If you're a threat and I don't like you, I'm gonna come at you from day one.
We literally just exist, and there's so much animosity towards us that, like, it's like throwing a match in a. If you just have a barrel full of kerosene, nothing's gonna happen. There's no ripples in the kerosene. It's just gonna sit there, right? But you throw a match in that barrel, and it's explosions. We are the match. Right now, the only thing they have is kerosene. Let's add some more kerosene. Oh, maybe we'll add a little water to it. How about some milk? And you just have like a milk kerosene water bath. You need the match.
Right. There's not a lot of pushback going on right now.
There's
and I think
nothing happening.
That's what the last, what has it been, 3 seasons, I believe, has been kind of a revolving kind of door of the same outcome in a sense, where you have kind of the same group of veterans who, they're like, we're cool with each other, we're not going to show resistance, and then they kind of just have like the rookies that are kind of catering to their every whim in a sense, to where we're just not getting any TV and we're just getting pretty much the same outcome.
I hope the gods listen to the fans, because from everything that I know, anytime we're out, any fans in my DM, any fans in my comments, it's always, we miss you, we want to see you back. Also, I have not heard from anybody that talks to me outside the show that is a fan of the show. I've not heard any positive feedback with regards to the casting of what's happening. They're like, we can't watch anymore because these people are so boring. They're all best friends. Like, that's what we keep hearing over and over again. And so, like I said, I feel like this cast, the only way that they have drama is if they fake it, and the fans are smart. They see through it. And I just honestly keep going back to the fact that, like, even if you don't like us for whatever reason, you know that when we go in, at least you can root against us. At least then it makes these boring people rootable, because they're going to come after us because they hate us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just feel like the people that keep going back are just doing a huge disservice to the fans and the challenge as a whole. And I really feel bad about that. I hear the fans.
We all here love CT, but to see like the biggest guy in the house almost be like a church mouse in a room full of like 30 other people and somehow just skate is like baffling to me. Like, how does that happen?
I know that they're like Team Boston and everything, but like, I sit here and people will be like, well, what about War of the Worlds 2? I'm like, listen, he was fat. This dude was out of shape as hell on War of the Worlds 2. And he was like begging almost every day, being like, you're not going to screw me over, right? Like, you're not going to go into elimination and be like, bro, like, the worst you'd have to go against is like a Josh. He goes, I don't even want to chance it. I'm like, Josh?
He pulled out pictures of his
pictures of his son and was just like, swear on this picture. And I'm sitting there being like, dude, like, you're fine. But in my head, I was also like, yeah, of course I'm going to promise you, dude. Like, you're the most out of shape person there. But after seeing him win the final, in my head, I was like, I'm never going to make that mistake again. Fast forward 2 seasons later, and he shows up snatched,
honestly,
fit as all hell. First light bulb that would have went off in my head is like, this dude
gotta get him out
of shape, down bad. He's an unstoppable force looking like this.
In defense of what is being cast, you need CT all the way to the end or nobody's going to watch. So from whatever the I know fans at home would probably, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see
I disagree because everybody watched all the way to the end on War of the Worlds 1, which had phenomenal ratings, had a lot of drama, had a lot of competitors. So
the 2 top guys went out immediately.
I don't believe that these staples are needed all the way to the end.
Paulie,
just my opinion.
Look at the cast of War of the Worlds 1.
Yes, War of the Worlds 1
We were able to carry.
Yeah.
There was so many personalities. There was so much going on. I was there. You were there. Wes was there. Turbo was there. Theo was there. People are watching for everything that's coming from that. What I'm saying is with the wallpaper and furniture that you have on the shows now, then you need CT, or what are people watching for? With the cast now, you need CT to make it to the end, or you don't have a show.
Fair point.
It's like assembling a football team, right? Like the New York Giants need like something to market to get fans to come sit in their seats, and
New York Giants
out
need
one
something
person.
right now.
I had to,
Talk
man.
about it.
So just for the good of you know your what you can get for ratings, you need CT there. From what's there now is what I'm saying. What's there now?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel as though, so like War of the Worlds 1 and War of the Worlds 2 exposed who was strong and exposed who was weak.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
the
then
weak
to
keep
see,
coming back.
So the weak keep coming back, but then
And
to
the strong got shoved.
But then to see, so like when there were actually strong people there, to see the outrage that people like threw our way of like, they're not doing anything, they're not blah, blah, blah. War of the Worlds 1, we won 10 out of the 13 dailies. I won an elimination. If I either come in first place on that puzzle instead of Turbo, I punch my ticket to the final. I can almost guarantee you I'm winning that final. And that's just not me bullshitting. I was in a different place physically and mentally on War of the Worlds 1. War of the Worlds 2, I've admitted that I was not in the same place physically and mentally, which is why I relied more so on my social game. Did I still finish top every daily? For sure. But, you know, I didn't have the same training that I had going into War of the Worlds 1, and it showed. You know, now I can't have the heat stroke thing, like, you know, that I couldn't have controlled that, but sorry. Fuck. I just almost choked. But when it comes to like seeing how nobody says a thing about these people, and like they'll be like, no, they're good competitors, like they have heart. It's like, when are people gonna wake up and be like, yo, the only reason why certain castmates are hyping other castmates as good competitors is because they're actually terrible competitors, but these are the people that they still want to keep coming back, because it's much easier to get to a final against a cast of flops than it is against a cast of Turbos and Theos and freaking Jordans and
Hunter.
Jennies and freaking Caras and Laurels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like War of the Worlds 1, to make it to that final, you had to be a savage. War of the Worlds 2, to make it to that final, you also had to be a savage. You can't go down the line of anybody in either of those finals or the people who made it right before the final and been like, nah, they're bad competitors. Every single person on the card was a beast. And those finals were insane.
Oh, yeah.
What I've been seeing the past 3 seasons, I'm like, I wish I was on these past 3 seasons, because these were cakewalk finals. They were like Final Reckoning finals. I was like, Final Reckoning final was a cakewalk. I wish I had some of these cakewalks. I would have just ran away with it.
But now,
War of the Worlds 1 and 2 were
What?
like,
What the
can
hell
you
was
survive?
that?
War of the Worlds 1, they wanted to kill me. They literally wanted to kill me. And then even knowing that, like, my mom's like, you could have died. She's a nurse. And she's like, you didn't take the IV? She's like, you literally could have gone into kidney failure for not taking an IV, because they didn't give you any nutrition or sustenance all day, just water. So and they finally are like, here's an IV thing. And I'm like, I'm not taking it. I'm not fucking doing it. Like, so, because needle in the vein, can't do it. And that was like, they wanted to, people died. I mean, think of who even made it through that War of the Worlds 1 final. I mean, Maddie went down right away.
Georgia
went down. Hunter, there was no way he could have done it. He was dragging and dying. Turbo and Theo both went down in the first portion, and so did Ninja.
Yeah.
And then they had to recover themselves. I kept a nice casual pace the whole time. I was fine.
Even
stopped.
Wes went down at some point.
They all went down. I was the only one that didn't go down the whole time. Man, I didn't even get an IV, but fucking math.
Those have got to be 2 of the greatest casts like ever assembled. I feel like both War of the World seasons.
Yeah, and it's crazy, because I remember when War of the Worlds 1 came out, Wes was like, hands down, strongest cast that there's ever been.
Yeah.
In challenge history. And it's true. In my belief, now obviously she's been on more seasons than me, but I've watched, and then I've gotten to compete against those people that I watched to be able to kind of like be like, all right, yeah, like
personalities too. Like, you did not have
boring people.
Nobody was boring. All the rookies, they all brought, like, there was a lot happening. So they were not only athletic, but they brought.
Here's the thing. Competition brings that out. And I know that there's like a small group of people that are like, we don't want athletes. And it's like, all right, cool, that's fine.
But then they better be entertaining.
But competitors will bring out the best and natural drama and authentic drama because those rookies showed up ready to rip all the vets apart. Every single one of them. That first challenge that we did, the one that I won, every single rookie guy was like, we're here to fucking smoke all of you guys, like blah, 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 blah. And I won it. And then the 3 rookies finished, and then Johnny, and then who was the third guy that finished? It wasn't CT. Might have been CT.
Might have been CT.
Might have been CT. But it's like people don't realize that it went me, rookies, then the 2 goats of the challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I raised my level on that because I was like, I'm not about to let these rookies like fucking make the vets look like shit. And I was only in my 2nd season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then throughout the rest of that show, the rookies were a powerful, physical, like scary thing, right? Well, who took the shots at the rookies? I did. You know what I mean? Because I saw that needed to get exploded because all the other people were getting picked off, right? So it's like there needs to be a power dynamic that forces people to raise their level and forces people to like bring parts out of themselves that like are going to bring good television through competition.
And gives you something to root for or against. By the way, you look totally professional. I just keep looking at like your background, your mic
He's
setup.
like got his hands and stuff.
I know, you look fucking.
I'm in Turks and Caicos.
Sharp. You got like the Batman fight going on. Like you look good. I
Looks
remember
looking good, man.
I know.
Come on.
I feel like my first interview with you was like it was like a bedroom background or something. I don't
Yeah,
remember. It was like
I didn't have the setup going yet.
Yeah.
That was almost 2 years ago.
Great.
Hard to believe, huh?
What?
2 years.
That was almost 2 years ago. Hard to believe.
That's wow. Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
And I'm gonna be 36 years old. Yeah.
Especially in Jersey.
What was that Final Reckoning final, though? Like, since we brought it up before, what the hell? Like,
You should have won that.
You know, honestly, it was my first introduction to what like a final was. It was my first introduction to like what a show was, right? And I'm almost like grateful that like there was a lot of OGs and a lot of vets that like came out and were like, saying Final Reckoning is a trash season, Carnival Games, that final was a joke, all that stuff, right? Because I didn't feel tired during the final. Like it was a very easy final. Now granted, I didn't watch we were away filming, so we didn't get to see the ending, but from what I'm told, like they cut out actually like good chunks of other competitions that happened in the final, but I look at that and I'm like, damn, like, if I wasn't like so ego driven in that final, because I was trying to prove a point, like I was like, oh, this is the final. I wasn't worried about the people in the final. I was like, I want people to watch this, to watch me breeze through this final, to be like, this guy's a contender, right? And then that cost me, losing my partner who I guess couldn't see the signs that were everywhere saying to go left. Not going to name names. But regardless of that, I'm happy that everybody talks so much smack in the offseason because going into War of the Worlds 1, I was like praying. I was like, please let this be the most insane season that has ever existed, so I could go in and absolutely demolish this.
The challenges were so cool.
And the challenges were so dope, and I won 7 of them. So, like, that's the most in challenge history that has ever been done on a single season. And then, once again, people were trying to discredit that, being like, no, it's actually, like, 12 with a team. So then the next season, I was like, well, let me do that. I hope it's a team season. And we won 11. So I almost won 12. So it's like, I always like seeing what people say in the offseason, specifically castmates, because you have to back up your words. And it almost seems like from what I've been watching of the past couple seasons is the competitions themselves have had to like almost like bring themselves down because the level of competitor has been brought way down. So it's like you can't have these people doing these wildly athletic things that we were doing on War of the Worlds 1 and War of the Worlds 2 because these competitors are just not physically capable of doing it. Most of them don't even keep themselves in shape. Not to also name names, but I'm sure we can know exactly who we're talking about.
Final Reckoning was like the tedious thing ever to watch live as a fan. Like if you watch it on a binge on like Netflix, perfect, because like all the cliffhangers they go, but watching that live was a trip. And I could only imagine you guys actually living in it with all the freaking insane twists and like the redemption shit and all that stuff. Like Oh my God.
Redemption House was a trip. I don't think people give enough credit to staying mentally strong in the Redemption House, because I would see teams get to the Redemption House and they'd be checked out being like, that's it, we lost. And I just remember telling my, partner, who was very in their head about like a lot of things, being like, we're going to get out of here. We're going to make it out of here. Stay focused, stay locked in. We're going to make it to a final. We're going to win this. And that was every day for about 6 weeks.
Wow.
You know what I mean? For us, at least 6 weeks of every day, like reassuring, being like, hey, listen, look at these teams that come in, they break. They've already lost. We're still in the game. We're going to win, and that takes a lot. But I think that prepped me for the future seasons to be like, nothing really shakes me mentally from these people. A, I don't think that they're smart. So, like, I don't think anybody can outsmart me. And B, they all, if they don't have a drink in their hand or a cigarette to smoke in 24 hours, they start to get anxiety and start to saying, when are we going out? When are we going out? I need to get out of this house. And I sit there and I see this all happening within the first week. And I was just like, this is going to be a cakewalk. I'm just going to like start to twist, the knife in people and start to poke at their like,
he loves craziness. It. Like he's meant for this, like athletically, politically. I would love to see you be able to compete again. Like,
I would love to see you to be able to compete again. I mean, I would love to see the freaking the GOAT back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people would. We'll leave it at that.
For the longest time, Paramount Plus had Cara's face dead smack as the poster for the challenge. So it's like,
they posted her on International Women's Day, and I think that post has like the most engagement that any post in a while, other than the All Stars 3 trailer drop, has gotten.
I would like to I definitely have a lot more in me, and I would like to not have the last challenge of my career be the way that it ended the last time. Like I have so much more to give for real, and I know the fans want that. But that's it's up to the world to. Yeah, you never know.
We definitely want that. We definitely want that shot of redemption. And I think it's coming. I think it's coming sooner rather than later. I think you can tell that the pulse has shifted because certain castmates that had felt very comfortable disrespecting us online and subtly throwing shade have all of a sudden become quiet for the past 2 to 3 months, and I wonder why that is. Now, with that being said, if the hill that people are willing to die on is, a bunch of over 40, people, which is,
almost there.
Listen, All Stars is perfect for a retirement home. I think that it's great. Keep the elderly there. Keep everybody there. Well, you're about to be closer to 40 than 30, but you still look good, girl.
That's right,
Come on.
Botox.
I watched you out here in Montana. Don't get me started. And if they're willing to die on the hill of people who only got their names for coming after good competitors, but are weak competitors that have no other storyline otherwise because they're friends with everybody. Yeah. If that's the hill that people are willing to die on, well then what the show was created and founded and built off of has really lost its way. And with the global thing on the loom, let me tell you something. These other countries, they do not care about any of the things that these people care about of like, no, we only want to be around our friends. They care about looking strong. They care about looking dominant. And on a global scale, are we really going to embarrass ourselves? Like, America built this show. The challenge is America's show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, America's show here. And we're letting other, people come in and just take it away.
Side note, you know what this girl needs? I need to walk into a house. I mean, this happens every season anyways, but for some reason we've managed around it. I thrive when everybody's against me. I feel like that's when I'm the Cara that people root for. Like, I thrive for, oh, you have no choice. We all hate you. We're all putting you into elimination. No matter what, we're going to vote you in every time. That's when, like, the angry, oh, yeah? Well, fucking watch me. That's when the Cara comes out that people root for, that I root for, that when I make it to a final, I don't waste it, like, because the animal comes out of me because I had to bring it out for eliminations. Like, I miss getting my hands dirty. Like, you know, it's like when I'm available to get thrown into elimination, people have not wanted to put me in, or, you know, I've won. I am always coming clutch on those, if you win this, you make it right in, or if you win this, you go to the final. I come in on that when the pressure's on, I come through on those. But I'm like, I'm ready. Like, throw me to the wolves, throw me to the best friend pack. Let them come at me. Like, I'm ready. I'm bored. They're bored. The audience is bored. Like, like I said, let's throw a match into the kerosene bucket.
Do you feel like it was kind of like the case for you, Cara, where it's like you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain? Is that what it was? Because Free Agents and all those earlier seasons, you were like everybody's hero, you know? And then once you finally get the numbers on your side on a season like War of the Worlds 2, or just coming to your own as a whole in general, is when people's, you know, hate started to come out more, I felt.
Certain people. Because winners love me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the losers who identified with me when I was a loser, to be honest, that got mad when I found my power and started winning. It's like you root for someone, you root for the underdog until they win. And then when they win, you're like, fuck, well, now who can I root for? Like, it's like that fun of rooting for the Red Sox, you know, to finally win their World Series in those years ago when it was like, come on, Sox, you keep getting us there, but you haven't won yet.
Beat the Yankees.
And it was like, and then they won, and they're like, well, okay, well, now what do we do? You know what I mean? And so I feel like with me, there's everybody knows my histories, my layers, my, you know, non-athletics, no only child, like how I was raised, and me just being thrust into this world. Originally dogged because I was born on the challenge as a fresh meat. I wasn't like, you know, an extra in Hoarders or wherever they're getting these people from now. You know, so it was at the time where there was only real world, only road rules. And I was a fresh meat who you're a loser. You don't belong here. So I was ganged up on from the moment I walked into that house. People were at me, and that made me, I was always a fighter, but I was also like, I was a sensitive crybaby. And it was almost like I had a sign in my head that said, yeah, bully this fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? So people identified with me because of my eccentric, you know, my style, owning who I was in that sense. I was very insecure, though. I had no confidence at all. My only time that I turned on, I lost. I'd always do really bad on challenges. But when it came time to an elimination, I turned on. That was my time to shine, was eliminations. And so people started rooting for me because even though I wasn't that good on the challenge, they know that I was a little animal in the elimination. And that's what gave me my fire. And then when I finally won, and I started finding a voice, and I started, instead of having to turn on and lose and then go into elimination and fight for my life, I started winning dailies. I started getting better. And people couldn't mess with me anymore. Like, I wouldn't let people make me cry. Like, I stood up for people. Like, and for some reason, and I understand at the end, my last season, my attitude wasn't good. Like, we even discussed, like, maybe I should skip that season before I even went in. Like, I probably should have stayed home, and Paulie should have done his thing. Like, I wasn't. And I had done so many, and there's so much toxicity with the castmates on and off the show that it really was just like eating my soul, and you could read that. So even though I went in there, I wasn't there. I mean, it wasn't. The numbers came because Paulie and Cam basically recruited.
Well, people couldn't read that. Castmates said it was because of me.
What do you mean?
The misery and the blah blah blah.
Absolutely not. No, there was just a lot going on, and if the light that people are seeing, the glow now is with everything that we've been doing these past few years. You know, Paulie is all to do with, you know, where I'm at in a good place now. So
I think we're excited because it's like, you know, now, like, we do so well, you know. On the business front of things, you know, financially, we're in a really great situation. You know, we're not going to go too deep into that, but like different parts around the country that like we have ourselves locked in at, but we're like excited at the point where it's like we only would need to go back just because we want silverware. like the money, you know, so it's like it's really coming from a place of like unfinished business and passion.
He wants to, yeah.
You know,
Like
and
that.
you know, like I would love to see her get her third win.
I would love.
I want to see her go out on a high note. You know, I
Mhm.
would love to get like my first win and see how many I could string along in succession. You know, once I get like that, you know, elephant out of the room.
See,
you know,
he tends to bring up the haters a lot. Because the athlete in him needs people to say you can't, so that he can go show them, well, yeah, fucking watch this. What I need
bring up the haters a lot. I'm positive as hell on social media.
What I'm saying
See
is,
my TikToks, I'm hilarious.
Listen, our TikToks are awesome. I think with the challenge world, there's like a 0.00001% that are very vocal, that try to speak for everybody and get everybody on their train, or their hate train. But again, like 99.9% of every message, everybody we've ever meet on the streets that don't even have social media, that don't even know that we're still together because they just love the challenge. They don't follow the castmates and look at all the threads and go to all the spoilers. Like these crazy fans that look at everybody who you follow or what comments you like or whatever. That is such a small but very, very vocal minority. The majority of the challenge audience, the challenge world, the fandom, like that aren't even going to see this interview, are like, when are you guys coming back? You're beasts. We love you, Cara. Like, it's not, oh, I don't like Cara. She was like this. I get, you're a savage. Fuck that. I like you so much better now because you win and you don't take shit. Like, so the people that look at me as like, I don't like her anymore, that's a reflection of their life and how they were raised and what their situation is. Because I get just many more people tell me, fuck yeah, Cara, you're so much stronger. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you kick ass now. I can't wait to see you back. Like, those people are the people that I relate to now. Yeah. I don't relate to the whiny victims anymore. I don't relate to those people that, you know, need everything handed to them and have, you know what I mean? Like, I relate to winners now. So if you hate me, you're not a winner.
Simply put.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where she gets that I feed the haters, because I get a lot of love.
Because you were bringing up like the people say this. Fuck those people. We don't know them.
You're the one who's always like that, Cara.
No, we were saying in this interview, babe. In this interview.
Well, you cut me off. I was leading it into where we were going with our business and why we haven't come out about it publicly when we first started.
You use
because
it to fight.
I say build in silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then never let anybody know your moves.
Yes.
And then release.
Yes.
So that's where that tied into it. So, you know, that, I guess we'll leave it at that. But, you know, I just get like, yo, when are you coming back? Like, you were the only person that stood up to all the vets.
All the time.
You were the only person that like actually brought the competition and gave that old school feel. Like that old school feel that everybody's talking about. Like that these OGs are trying to hijack, being like, make it like this. It's like, you're over 40. You guys really, you're in a men's league, you know, for over 40s.
So is the All-Star 3 stuff, is that nothing that impresses you at all?
Honestly, like, this is the best cast out of all three. I will say that I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, once again, like, they're all friends. Like, they're all friends, like, as much as they have, like, their little whatever. Like, I have phone calls with people where they'll be like, you know, like, we've just all talked and, you know, like, we just all realized there's a lot of money to be made doing these things. So, like, you know, we'll all just be friends, but we'll just do what we got to do for the cameras. And I was like, that's how you guys think now on all fronts, on the All-Stars front, on the main show front. I'm like, well, if that's the mentality, I know exactly why it's not translating with the audience, because you can see through that. It's not authentic. So, like, do I have high hopes for, like, what the male side can bring? Because, honestly, the female side is still extremely weak. Like, I don't even know I don't know what the credentials for All-Stars are. If, like, from what I've seen the past 3 seasons of All-Stars is credentials for All-Stars, I guess I could be an All-Star now, right?
Why did they brought Cook back? Like, I feel like even
she was
if only one, I mean,
she was an alternate. Can you imagine that? She never accepts another call since you guys did Rivals 2. And the one opportunity they have to nail her down, they don't use her.
Honestly, like, the females are lacking.
There's so many good females, too.
And even with the main show, we've lost all of our female champions. They just somehow disappear.
Well, you know, D has definitely earned that
Yeah, there's a few that are
more
in
than
it.
once
Yeah.
now.
But I mean, it's something weird. It's like the curse of the female champions. They just kind of go away.
It's almost as if once the females start to become too powerful, the men on the cast don't like it.
I just think that's a double standard that exists in entertainment as a whole, but especially reality television, competition-wise.
Yeah. But
I mean,
I even look back at like where's like Paula? Like honestly, Paula's so, like she makes good TV. She's such good TV. I know she's happy with her family right now. She's got like
Has
3
Rachel
kids.
even been back yet?
I don't know. I think she's hinted that she would.
yeah.
But I mean, like, Paula's hilarious. Like, Cook wants to come back and compete, and I know she's a like, I want to see Cook again. Bring back Cook. We want to see her. Like, give us something more than these obscure female veterans. Like, there's a lot of obscure female veterans that never brought anything that I'm like, why did you pick this one? Like,
So, Cara, would you do an all-star show, hypothetically?
Would I get, the question is, would they ask me?
Well,
I
if
don't
you were
know.
asked, would you do it?
I feel like All Stars is more like where you like retire. Like, I don't know if people do All Stars. I guess Wes would. He did both. Like, there's some people that do both, but I feel like All Stars is what you do when you're done with the challenge, I think. Am I wrong? Because
I mean, some of them, and they might not get the choice. Like, I feel like in certain cases, maybe they're doing all stars. Like, I don't know what Darrell's
But they can't
situation
do
or
the
Derek's
main.
situations are like, but sometimes maybe they're not given the option to do the main show, and that's why
Or
they're
maybe they
double
just
dipping.
can't schedule-wise.
schedule
4
a
weeks.
lot of it.
I think like 4 to 5 weeks is way easier than to be away for 8 weeks.
And there's like a lot of
Yeah.
these people have families and jobs and stuff like that. So the All Stars is easier to do. But I feel like unless it's a reboot, unless it's kind of a reboot of, I got to do pros versus champs, and I got to compete against Olympic athletes. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that off show where I got my redemption with Darrell, that was Olympic athletes. And then after that, it was called All Stars or
Yeah.
pros or all
Champs versus stars.
yeah,
champs
well,
versus.
I don't
so
know.
it's kind of the same.
I think also why a lot of these people probably prefer All Stars over the main show is because there's a lot of younger people on the main show. So like you can't get away with hooking up with each other because most of the All Star people have like spouses and stuff at home. So
Yeah.
like when they hook up with each other, it's in both of their interests to keep it quiet. Whereas opposed to if they were on the main show and hooking up with people who are like young and don't have relationships, they might just blast it all over the internet and, you know, destroy them. Once again, not naming,
Quite the
names,
devil's
but-
advocate you are there,
yeah,
Paulie.
quite the devil's advocate here, you know. I mean, I've been there. I completely understand it, you know. Sometimes it's good to just be upfront and open about like when you make mistakes like that.
So 4 years for you guys now, right? Isn't it? Since you guys first met, I think if my memory serves correct, it was May of 2018 when you guys were filming Final Reckoning.
Wow.
No, I think towards the end, yeah. So like we actually met in March is when Final Reckoning started filming. But yeah, I remember celebrating her birthday with her in the Final Reckoning house
I was
right before the final.
32.
32 on 32.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, and that was 2018. So yeah, it's 4 years.
Jesus
Flew by.
Christ.
4 years. We're one of the dinosaur relationships now.
And we have been through
Been through it all.
hell and back, and for us to still be together and be best friends is like, it's different for me. Like, I actually have somebody that I truly love.
Do you guys recount your first encounter? Like, what do you guys remember from that upon first meeting?
I still have the plaid shirt, and I still wear it.
Yeah,
sometimes.
so like that plaid shirt from like that infamous, I think, first episode.
I was schmammered, had my little
Yeah, it might have been the
backwards
first or second episode.
I was fucking, Paulie climbed all the way up to the top bunk like this, while me and Melissa were like, calm down, we'll do things.
Yeah,
You
see,
know?
things would have been way
Like-
different had I had been, single going into that, because I've never turned down a threesome in my life.
Oh my
That's first and foremost.
Well, now you don't
right?
have to. So.
Now I don't have to, but
You
that
get
opening,
everything.
and
Have
like
your
I was,
cake and eat it too.
like I'm kind of like you. I like to stir the pot, right? So like, single me seeing another person physically bothered that like their ex, which I don't even know why it was called an ex, because he still had a girlfriend at home for like Vendettas and Final Reckoning that he now has a child with. But anyway, me being the type of asshole that I am, been like, oh, you're bothered by this? Well, I'm going to go have sex with her in the other room, and I'm going to tell you about it afterwards. So a lot of people are like probably very better off that I had a girlfriend going into that, because I think all hell would have broken even more loose than it did.
Sooner.
Yeah. With all of that, because it would have just been like, this happened, do something about it. But yeah, I mean, I guess the way it happened, like, it happened for a reason. Like, it was able to kind of go like that long period of time, and it made it a little bit more magical when we finally did connect.
Still here. It was funny. The contention you guys were met with when you guys first got together in the beginning, it's just kind of funny now how the numbers have dwindled down, and you two are one of the lone couples standing.
The people that talked the most ended up having to look in the mirror.
I would just like to pinpoint that while there was a lot of people extremely vocal about us, as their relationships deteriorated and crumbled, we never said one
anything.
Word.
I really want to put that out there.
I would people to really take note of that.
There were some integral players that said terrible things about us.
Awful.
Couldn't stop. Lived for our demise. And when the same shit that they said was gonna happen with us, or that was happening with us, happened to them, we never said anything.
Never said a word.
Like, and people come at us, like, some of them people come at us, and it's like, but
I actually think that during
really
the time,
kept it classy.
I actually
in many
think that,
situations we could have been like, ha!
Well,
you know what I mean? And we didn't.
I think there's a quote that I saw on like Instagram where it basically, the premise of it is, it's like, if you want to know what my character is, I'm still holding secrets for people who are publicly disrespecting me and dragging my name through the mud, right? So it's like, at the time when all that stuff was going on, and where a lot of like people were very vocal, I had a lot of secrets on a lot of people. Like right after Final Reckoning, a lot of secrets on a lot of people. Like there were people who were going through affairs that were like being extremely vocal, about what was going on with us, who like, if all of a sudden I decided to just be like, oh, hey, you're saying this, what about this that's going on, right?
Certain castmates in your DMs that were in relationships.
Yeah, certain castmates in my DMs that, because she was who she was, wanted to be the person that came to me. I mean, plus they probably heard about my reputation in the bedroom from her. But so many secrets even over like these past 4 years, because I'm just like, what, like, I don't like to be that person that like throws other people out there and under the bus and like and gets happy over somebody else's demise, because I'm a very big believer in like the secret and manifestation and putting what you want out into the universe. And I think what people don't realize about this, as much as a lot of castmates are like, I believe in this, when you are happy over somebody else's misfortunes and somebody else's demise, you are actually telling the universe that you like when that stuff happens. So therefore it's going to happen to you. And I think what we've seen over these past 4 years is all the people that relished in what was happening to us, because of a terrible PR person that I had fired and an ex
and
that was terrible.
And my cycle of
just castmates that were intimidated by us being together. But we've seen over the past 4 years all that stuff come crumbling down, and the misery that surrounded it for them. But instead of us being like happy that it happened to them, we were actually feeling for them, because we were like, it sucks, to go through that, and then to have to deal with it being public also sucks, because I did not want the universe saying that I enjoyed those things.
I
want the universe only to tell me that I enjoyed happiness.
I wasn't celebrating, but I wasn't like, oh, that poor nice person. I was just like,
I mean, it's just something as simple as being like, well, I mean, like, that's karma in a nutshell.
It's karma. And the thing is, though, I can't even tell you all the shit that this guy is holding on to. Holding on to it.
Vault, baby.
Shall any of these individuals in front of a camera,
make the mistake.
Say anything.
Make the mistake of trying to say
It's coming
something.
out. Like, he ain't wasting this shit on Twitter. He's like, this is a volt ready to be unleashed. When somebody just say it, just try it. Just say it. Say something, because
I'm just tired of people trying to discredit things. I'm just tired of people trying to discredit things, right? Like, I can own up to, like, hooking up with Cara while I was still with Danielle, right? I can own up to that, right? I can't, in good faith, like, relate to these people who try to, take Danielle coming out with, like, things 6 months later.
I should never.
Who, like, they manipulated the hell out of her, like, castmates and all this stuff. But that's besides the point. Like, I can't, in good faith, have them sit there and be like, well, because of these things, he failed psych evaluations. He's this, he's that, he's this. But when there's actual guys that are doing very messed up things, silence. And, like, to me, I don't need to be the one to say it. These people have exposed themselves, right? But I always hated that they discredited us as competitors by trying to spin narratives about our character. So, like, now moving forward, if they try to do that again, I'm going to be like, do you really want to go this route? Because I could just unleash all of this stuff on you. Or you could just finally give credit where credit's due and admit that, like, you got outplayed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely operate a lot more better than what people give you credit for. Because I know if the shoe was on the other foot, there's a lot of people that would not think twice about airing your shit out. So
screenshots would be on Twitter, like, things would be done. But I don't know. Like, listen, I'm not going to give away the books that I read, but there's books that I read every year that are like my Bibles, and these things keep me in a space of always thinking strategically first, in the sense of, like, are people just trying to get a reaction out of me? And if I give them that reaction, who's going to win that battle, me or them, right? So, like, I would much have rather held on to everything for this entire time, because there's going to be another point in time where, I can talk about it and I can be vindicated of all the things that people have said about me, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I could do.
Yeah. Well, I had a fun time chatting with the two of you today, and I'm glad that you guys gave me your time. You guys seem to be in great places and doing a lot of great things, and I'm going to keep supporting you two from afar. And thank you again for gracing my show with your guys' presence.
Dude, we hitting DJs.
Wait, what?
I said we hitting DJs.
Oh, wait, you want to talk about that?
No, I said we hitting DJs. Are you're 21?
We're coming out to Jersey.
I
was like, wait, what? Do you want to talk about a DJ thing?
We're out in Jersey, bro. We're hitting DJs.
Oh yeah, we're doing that. Let's do it.
Without a doubt. We got to get a little Jersey Shore action going on.
I might not have got my third official challenge win, if we're not counting, obviously, pros versus champs. But I did get 3 interviews with Mike Lewis. So
that's worth something.
If anything, I can put that on my record.
You're a first for that, Cara. Nobody's gotten
anything, so. That's amazing.
Well, keep touching me, Paulie and Cara, as well. If you guys ever want to link up or do something, let me know, and I look forward to putting this out.
Heck yeah, brother. Let us know. We'll take care of it.
All right.
We've got 3 dogs.
Peace out, bro.
Sorry,
3 dogs just now wanting to play.